Good evening. Thanks for joining us on India Business Hour. I'm Shireen Bhan. The top stories that we're tracking for you this evening. Stocks rise across the world after the US Fed cuts rates by 25 basis points. Also signals 2 more rate cuts this year, 1 rate cut next year. Gold sees some profit booking.
I hope there's no more hesitation for industry to invest further, to expand capacities.
With 4 days to go for the GST cuts to come into effect, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman asked industry to increase investments quickly. Says the government hopes there is no reluctance to increase capacity and manufacturing. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal says talks with the US have been productive and both nations are working on the right track. The Chief Economic Advisor Anantha Nageshwaran says in his personal opinion, the 25% penal tariffs could be removed in the next 8 to 12 weeks. SEBI gives a clean chit to the Adani Group and its top executives on allegations made by US short seller Hindenburg, finds no violations of laws, fraudulent practices or market manipulation or insider trading. Maruti Suzuki passes on GST cut benefits, slashes car prices by up to 27% with effect from the 22nd of September, also offers additional discounts, clarifies that the discounts will only last for a limited period. The government is set to release the rules under the new Digital Data Protection Act within 10 days. The Editors Guild and other organizations have flagged the lack of protection for journalists. The government is also looking to implement the new law banning online real money gaming by the 1st of October.
We are a not yet company. That means if you ask me, are you producing this? And if I'm not, I won't say no, I'll say not yet. Because some customer or somebody will ask me to produce it.
The Motherson Group is a not-yet company unperturbed by headwinds, says Chairman Vivek. Chaand Sehgal says they will go after any segment their demand exists. That's an exclusive. Families of 4 victims of the Air India crash in Ahmedabad file a case against the aircraft maker Boeing and equipment maker Honeywell in the US, accuse both companies of negligence. Boeing's India head says the company is actively supporting the investigation. Heavy rains lash Uttarakhand, at least 10 people missing after landslides flattened several houses in Chamoli district. Around 2,500 tourists are stranded in Mussoorie as the road to Dehradun remains closed for the second day. Rahul Gandhi makes fresh allegations against the Election Commission, claims irregularities in addition and deletion of voters across the country, accuses the Chief Election Commissioner of protecting those responsible. The Election Commission calls the charges incorrect and baseless. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia sign a mutual defense agreement. Aggression against either country will now be considered as aggression against both. India's External Affairs Ministry is studying the implications and reiterates commitment to national security. Facebook's parent Meta launches new smart glasses in partnership with Ray-Ban. The glasses will cost $800 and come with an inbuilt display. Is it worth your money? A product review coming up. Well, let's start with the action on Wall Street, where shares opened strong. The US Federal Reserve delivered a rate cut as expected for the first time in 9 months. In Europe as well, the market's largely holding up. Gold prices saw some profit booking, though, after the recent rally. Now, the Fed's quarter percentage point cut takes the rates to the range of 4 to 4.25%. The Fed has penciled in 2 more cuts this year. It has, however, warned of a weakness in the labor market. In fact, the newly appointed Fed Governor, Stephen Moran, backed by President Trump, was the only policymaker who advocated for a 50 basis point cut. As I mentioned, the Fed penciling in 2 cuts before the year. Chairman Jerome Powell, however, is warning of signs of weakness in the labour market. Well, that was the global story. Back home on the Lal Street, the Sensex and the Nifty closing at the highest levels seen since July, this after a range-bound session. The Nifty reclaiming the 25,400 mark. IT and pharma stocks led the rally today. IT up by about 300 points and 332 higher there on the Nifty Pharma. In the money market, the rupee weakened against the dollar. $1 costs more than 88 rupees as things currently stand. The dollar index regained some momentum from the 7-month lows after the commentary that came in from the US Fed hinting at some caution on potential rate cuts. That's the money market action for you. Now, the GST rate cuts are set to take effect in the next 4 days. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman nudging industry to boost investment. Speaking at the symposium of the Indian Foundation for Quality Management, the finance minister said the government has delivered the ease of doing business and hopes there will not be any reluctance on the part of industry to increase capacity and step up manufacturing.
I hope there's no more hesitation for industry to invest further, to expand capacities, produce more in India. And what else is required by the government to do? Spell them out. You have a prime minister in this country who you have known for decades, from his days as Chief Minister of Gujarat. And he's never relented on reforms, nor has he ignored the wish list of the industry.
If India is to achieve its goals of economic, social, infrastructure, and inclusive growth, the main purpose of Viksit Bharat, then we need to be working closely with the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister in multiple dimensions. And we are doing this at a time when the world is going through several challenges in terms of macroeconomic stability.
Globally, for the steel industry, things continue to be challenging simply because China continues to export 9 to 10 million tons of steel every month, and oftentimes at prices at which they themselves don't make money. So it's very difficult for anyone to compete with that. But luckily for the Indian steel industry, the demand growth in India has been strong. So we've been less vulnerable to what's happening in the global markets. The additional capacity that many of us have built in India are being fulfilled, being taken care of from the demand that there is in India. But if we were to export, yes, it would be challenging.
Well, that's industry on the road after the GST rate cuts. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has said the talks with the US have been productive and both nations are working on the right track. Meanwhile, the Chief Economic Advisor Anantha Nageshwaran says the 25% penal tariffs could be removed in the next 8 to 12 weeks, but this is his personal opinion.
Well, the US discussions with the Assistant USTR happened 2 days back. They were productive and are working on the right track. The US relationship is a very strong, comprehensive, strategic partnership between two friendly countries.
Considering recent developments in the last couple of weeks and so on, I do believe, I have no particular basis to say so, I just my intuition, that the penal tariff will not be there beyond November 30th. I mean, it's not a statement of based on any concrete indicator or evidence. It's my hope that given the recent development which we see in terms of both countries finding an off-ramp and reaching out to each other, and including the important negotiator being in India in the first 2 days of this week, I do believe that there will be a resolution in the next couple of months on the penal tariff and hopefully on the reciprocal tariff also.
Well, that is the Chief Economic Advisor saying that he believes, in his personal opinion, the penal tariffs, that's 25%, that was over and above the existing 25%, could perhaps be done away with over the next 8 to 12 weeks. Now, the head of Boeing in India says the aircraft maker is still assessing the impact of tariffs. Speaking with Parikshit Luthra, Salil Gupta said he remains optimistic that India and the US will find a way forward to resolve the tariff issue soon. He also spoke about the Air India crash in Ahmedabad. Families of 4 victims of the crash have now filed a case against Boeing and equipment maker Honeywell in the US. Gupta said the company is actively supporting the investigation into the crash.
The AI-171 accident was heartbreaking for all of us at the Boeing family and, of course, our customers at Air India as well. And during this period, we've been actively supporting Air India, our customer, and supporting the investigation. Because we're an active participant in the investigation under the United Nations ICAO rules, it's very, very specific that only India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Board can give updates and comment on how the investigation is going. And so we expect that the AIB will continue to do that.
Well, that's Salil Gupte of Boeing. The news coming in from market regulator SEBI. It's given a clean chit to the Adani Group and its top executives on some allegations that were made by US short seller Hindenburg. In its final order, SEBI says it has found no violation of any law, fraudulent practices, market manipulation or insider trading. Yash joins us now with the details of the SEBI order. SEBI presenting its final order in this matter, clearing the Adani Group, Yash, of any violations.
Well, that's correct, Shireen. So, very important to note that this is not an interim order which has come from SEBI. It's the final order which clears the Adani Group from allegations which are leveled by US-based, of course, short seller Hindenburg Research. There were two allegations, importantly, which Hindenburg Research had, alleged against Adani Group. One was routing of funds, essentially siphoning of funds, and second, being involved in related party transactions. Market regulator SEBI has released two important orders today. One, clearing the Adani Group out of the allegations of siphoning of funds, and the second one with respect to the related party transactions and the possible violations which regulator was investigating. The regulator says that it has found no violation, noting that the time such transactions were unrelated parties did not qualify as related party dealings. Importantly, this definition of related party transaction was changed in 2021 amendment itself. Market regulator SEBI also noted that the loans which were repaid with interest, which means there was no siphoning of funds, and hence there was no fraud or any unfair trade practices. Accordingly, all the proceedings against the Adani Group have been dropped with this final order from market regulator SEBI coming today. So, of course, importantly, two allegations which SEBI was investigating. One was siphoning of funds, and the second one was allegations of related party transactions, both being investigated, and Adani Group being cleared where no evidence has been found with respect to violations of any of these two allegations, and cleared from all charges as far as SEBI's final order is concerned.
Well, that's right, Yash, and that's important, as you were pointing out. This is not an interim order, it's the final order, and there are two orders, and in both those, the Adani Group has been given a clean chit. Yash, I also want to go back to you because it's not just the companies involved, it's also the individuals that have now been cleared by SEBI in its final order, correct?
That's correct. Mr. Gautam Adani also being cleared because there were, of course, as far as Hindenburg's research was concerned, they had named, of course, Mr. Gautam Adani and Vinod Adani, as well as far as, the transactions and the layers to the various transactions and the role of the two individuals in those transactions were concerned. So, of course, along with the Adani Group, the individuals also, Mr. Gautam Adani, Vinod Adani, being cleared as far as SEBI's final order is concerned.
Yash Jain, many thanks for joining us. Significant development there coming in for the Adani Group. Big relief for the group with SEBI in its final order, giving the Adani Group a clean chit in the Hindenburg matter. Now on to the latest development in the Dharavi redevelopment project in Mumbai. Sehgal Group, which lost out on the bid to the Adani Group, has launched arbitration against the Maharashtra government in the United Arab Emirates. Sehgal has also moved the Supreme Court in India, challenging the government's decision to award the contract to Adani. The company argued in the Apex Court that the government had introduced fresh conditions to suit the group, even though its bid was higher. A Delhi court has quashed the ex parte order restraining defamatory publications about the Adani Group. The district judge of the Rohini court held that the journalists should have been heard before issuing takedown orders. However, another judge of the same court has reserved the verdict on journalist Paranjoy Gua Thakur's plea. India's largest car maker, Maruti Suzuki India, has announced price cuts of up to 1.3 lakh rupees. The new prices will take effect from the 22nd of September when GST cuts come into play. The company has also offered additional discounts, but it has also said that these discounts are for a limited period offer and prices will be reviewed by the end of the year. Here's a CNBC TV 18 exclusive. Motherson Group's chairman Vivek Chaand Sehgal has said that he is unperturbed by tariffs or any other headwinds. Sehgal also said that every segment is showing growth and the group is ready to enter any sector where it believes it sees customer demand. According to him, Motherson is a not yet company. Here is Vivek Chaand Sehgal explaining why he believes that to be the case.
More than 450 plants all over. So I don't need to export, otherwise I'll be taking all the export awards. We are a not yet company. That means if you ask me, are you producing this? And if I'm not, I won't say no, I'll say not yet. because some customer or somebody will ask me to produce it. So we're an open-minded company. We go for those particular challenges which the customer poses to us. We've done 44 acquisitions up till date. And we think it's a better way than joint ventures because you own the technology, the patents and everything come to you.
The not yet company, that's Vivek Chaand Sehgal, the vice chairman of Apollo Tyres, has expressed confidence that the company will break the so-called sponsor jinx when it comes to the Indian cricket jersey. Remember, past sponsors Baiju's, Dream 11, Sahara have had a terrible innings. Neeraj Kaur of Apollo Tyres told CNBC TV18 the firm has very strong foundations and it's ready for the long haul. This comes after Apollo Tyres signed a 579 crore rupee contract with the BCCI to be a jersey partner for a 2.5-year period till March 2028. The deal covers both men and women's jerseys across all formats.
So I don't look at a 3-year span, I look at it a much longer term. Because whenever Apollo has tied up with someone, for instance, and the writing is on the wall with Man United, this is our 13th year with United. So it's been a long journey with Manchester United. So that's a real live example to tell you that once Apollo collaborates with such a big brand, which gets a nation the pride, Apollo will stay. It's a long term. It's a century and centuries to come.
Well, that's Apollo Tyres' Neeraj Kaur hoping to break the jersey jinx. The government is set to release the rules under the new Digital Data Protection Act within 10 days. The Editors Guild and other organisations had earlier urged the centre to keep journalistic work outside of its ambit. Ashmit standing by now to explain to us where the concerns lie. Ashmit.
Well, the DPDP rules have been awaited to give more clarity on the implementation of the larger DPDP Act. We're given to understand that the rules will be rolled out in the next 10 days or so before September 28th. That's the deadline that the Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has set for himself. As far as the rules themselves are concerned, when confronted with the question of what happens to the concerns that have been raised by journalists on that particular issue, the clarity that has come is that there will be some clarity, some picture given as a part of the FAQs. Now, this is not what the journalist bodies had sought. The journalist bodies had raised a number of concerns. To begin with, they had said that Section 7 of the DPDP Act essentially says that all parties that are collecting or publishing information will have to seek the consent of the person of whom they're collecting and publishing information about. Now, while that sounds good in principle, journalists who, for a living, collect and publish information about certain specific persons could face liabilities under the DPDP Act. The concern is, the example is that, say, suppose a journalist is publishing a news about a corrupt public official or a corrupt public contractor. Seeking consent from that same public contractor would defeat the purpose of this entire journalistic exercise. There are also concerns about provisions of the DPDP Act that which could be used by the Data Protection Board for journalists to reveal their sources. There are concerns about the weakening of the RTI Act. And also, there are concerns being raised about possible penal consequences which could run up to as high as 200 crore rupees. Now, on the back of all of this, the Editors Guild, among other journalist bodies, had sought for clarity, either amendment in the law or clarity in the rules. Neither of them appear to be coming. The clarity that appears to be coming may be through FAQs, which may not address all the concerns that have been flagged by journalist bodies. Back to you.
All right, Ashmit, many thanks for joining us. Meanwhile, the government is looking to implement the new law that bans online real money gaming by the 1st of October. IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said that the government has held discussions with gaming companies, banks and other stakeholders.
Promotion and regulation of online games, that act which was passed by the Parliament. We have engaged with the industry. We have had multiple discussions with them. We have been having discussions with them for last almost 3 years, and after passing the law, once again we engaged with them. We also engaged with the banks. We engaged with practically every stakeholder possible in this, and we have finalized the rules. The rules will be promulgated with effect from 1st October coming, and before that we'll have one more round of discussions with the industry.
Well, that's Ashwini Vaishnav there. Up next, Facebook's parent Meta launches new smart glasses in partnership with Ray-Ban. Is it worth your money? We tell you when we return. And you can catch all of CNBC TV 18's news and updates on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X and Jio Hotstar. Well, a significant development that's taken place. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia have signed a mutual defense agreement. Now, under this agreement, any aggression against either country, that's either Pakistan or Saudi Arabia, will be considered as aggression against both. India's External Affairs Ministry said it is studying the implications and reiterated its commitment to national security. Parikshit joins us now with more details. Parikshit, what are the implications of this deal?
Well, we've been speaking to a number of foreign policy experts, and the view is this is serious for India, and it will have long-term implications as well. Now, what could be the possible trigger? It is well known that Pakistan and Saudi Arabia had been considering such a pact for a while, but it seems to have accelerated, according to experts, after the recent attack by Israel on Hamas sites in Qatar. That seems to have angered and worried a lot of Arab nations. In fact, on Monday, there was a meeting of Muslim nations, the Arab League, that took place in Qatar itself. And there the view was very clear. Countries like Egypt, countries like Iraq, even Pakistan was present there. And they all pushed for a NATO-style Arab League to defend themselves against Israeli aggression. So it seems that Saudi's actions seems to have been pushed ahead and accelerated by what has happened between Israel and the Hamas. Now, why Pakistan? Experts say that Pakistan has limited capacity in terms of economic strength, but at the same time, it is a nuclear power. And it is the only Muslim nation to have nuclear capabilities. So what this does is, will enable Saudi Arabia to project a very strong deterrent posture against Israel in light of any future aggression. And here's what the worry is, that Pakistan has managed to do this, taken the lead with Saudi Arabia, and they may manage to do this with other Arab nations as well. Also, what experts tell us, that we've not really seen the fine print of this deal as yet. Yes, both sides have welcomed it. Saudi Arabia and Pakistan have welcomed it. But we are yet to see how this works out in future. Net, most foreign policy diplomats and experts also say that it is very unlikely that Saudi Arabia will play any active role in case of any India-Pakistan aggression in future. They are likely to remain neutral. That may remain unchanged. But yet, the jury is out till the time we're able to see the fine print of this agreement and how Pakistan and Saudi Arabia stand to defend and help themselves, help each other in future.
Absolutely. This is going to be an important one to track. Parikshit, many thanks for joining us. US President Trump met with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer at the Chequers today. The two leaders held bilateral talks and later joined business leaders at a reception where they announced a new science and technology partnership. Trump and Starmer also signed a landmark deal aimed at boosting collaboration in areas like artificial intelligence. Israeli tanks and military vehicles have entered Gaza City's most crowded residential districts. This comes on the second day of Israel's ground offensive aimed at occupying the area. Israel has said the operation aims to free hostages and defeat about 3,000 Hamas fighters. The overall death toll in Gaza has crossed 65,000. ABC has decided to indefinitely suspend talk show host Jimmy Kimmel's late night show over his comments about the suspect behind the assassination of far-right activist Charlie Kirk. Kimmel said, and I quote, "Many in Margaland are working very hard to capitalize on the murder of Charlie Kirk." End quote. His comments drew severe backlash on social media. The Federal Communications Commission chair suggested that ABC's broadcast license was at risk because of Kimmel's remarks. Heavy rains lashed Uttarakhand. At least 10 people are missing after landslides flattened several houses in Chamoli district. Around 2,500 tourists are stranded in Mussoorie as the road to Dehradun remains closed for the second day. Doctors across Maharashtra under the Indian Medical Association on a 24-hour strike. The protests are against the state government's decision to allow the registration of homeopathic doctors who have completed a certificate course in modern pharmacology in the State Medical Council. However, all emergency and critical services were largely unaffected. Rahul Gandhi has made fresh allegations against the Election Commission. He claims irregularities in addition and deletion of voters across the country. Gandhi also accused the Chief Election Commissioner of protecting those responsible. The Election Commission has called the charges incorrect and baseless, the BJP accusing the Congress of trying to malign democratic institutions.
Targeted deletions हो रहे हैं. कांग्रेस पार्टी पर आनंद में अटैक किया. टॉप 10 बूथ्स जहां सबसे ज्यादा कांग्रेस की स्ट्रेंथ थी वहां टारगेट किया और 2018 में पिछले इलेक्शन में 10 में से 8 बूथ कांग्रेस पार्टी जीती थी और इन 8 में से इन्होंने 6000 लोग उड़ाने की कोशिश की. ये कोइंसिडेंस नहीं था। ये प्लान था और ये सेंट्रलाइज तरीके से किया जा रहा है।
आज की प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में हाइड्रोजन बम फोड़ने वाले थे, फुलझड़ी से काम चलाना पड़ा, वो भी फुस हो गई। क्या हो गया? इलेक्शन कमीशन ने बड़ा स्पष्ट कहा है कि नो डिलीशन ऑफ एनी वोट कैन बी डन ऑनलाइन बाय एनी मेंबर ऑफ पब्लिक। ऑनलाइन किसी भी वोट को नहीं काटा जा सकता।
Well, let's revisit the big corporate story. Market regulator SEBI has given a clean chit to the Adani Group and its top executives on allegations made by US short seller Hindenburg. In its final order, SEBI says it's found no violation of laws, any indication of fraudulent practices, market manipulation or insider trading. Adani Group Chairman Gautam Adani has now tweeted. He says, and I quote, "After an exhaustive investigation, SEBI has reaffirmed what we have always maintained, that the Hindenburg claims were baseless. Transparency and integrity have always defined the Adani Group. We deeply feel the pain of the investors who lost money because of this fraudulent and motivated report. Those who spread false narratives owe the nation an apology. Our commitment to India's institutions, to India's people, and to nation building remains unwavering." End of quote. That's Gautam Adani reacting to the final order that's come in from SEBI, giving the Adani Group a clear and clean chit in the Hindenburg matter. Facebook parent Meta has launched the Meta Ray-Ban Gen 2, which is an improved version of its AI smart glasses. The starting price is $379, but is it worth your money? Shivani Gharat sent us her review from California.
Now, I'm at Meta Connect, as you can see, and Ray-Ban Meta Glasses Gen 2 were launched here. I'm wearing it right now. Now, I have been using the Gen 1 of the Meta Ray-Ban glasses for past year almost to take my calls, listen to music and capture videos even during my runs and commute. So, when Meta dropped the Gen 2 today, I had to check them out, and honestly, these are some of the upgrades that I have been waiting for. So first up, what's improved? Battery life. Now, Ray-Ban Meta Gen 1 lasted up to 4 to 5 hours. Gen 2 can give you up to 8 hours plus 50% charge in just 20 minutes. The case carries extra 48 hours. So great for your commute, work commute, travel, and even more. Next, video. Now, I loved my point of view clips on Gen 1 whenever I shot them, but they max at 1080p. Gen 2 brings 3K Ultra HD at 60 frames per second with HDR. Also, later in the fall, company is promising hyperlapse as well as slow-mo on these models. Then, audio plus AI. Still, it's open ear, so you don't have to put anything in the ear, and AI has become more conversational. Live translation is now available in 6 languages, even offline. So hence perfect for travelers. Style-wise, still the iconic Ray-Ban Wayfarer, Skyler and Headliner, plus new colors like Cosmic Blue, Mystic Violet. Some of the colors that I really loved. They look like actual glasses and not gadgets. That's like a big plus for me. The price, it starts at $379.
All right, $379. That's the starting price. If you're in the market for AI smart glasses, thanks very much for joining us on this edition of India Business Hour. From all of us here, good night. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC TV 18. We'll be right back with you with a lot more.